Silly girl. That's what my lawyer said after reading the papers my sister forged. I was in London, halfway through my morning coffee, when he called. His voice sounded different, heavier, like each word had to be weighed before being spoken. Elizabeth, your grandmother's apartment has been sold, and not by you. For a moment, I thought he was joking, but his silence was the kind that leaves no room for hope. Sold? I asked. Signed, filed, transferred, and the name on the deed isn't yours. The coffee went cold in my hand. Outside, rain began to crawl down the window pane, slow, deliberate, like it already knew what I was about to do next. My sister thought distance meant defeat, but she never understood the power of silence, or what happens when someone like me decides to break it. Moving to London had been my escape, an escape from quiet dinners, polite comparisons, and glances that said more than words ever could. My mother used to tell me I was too much of a dreamer. You should be more like your sister, Lizzie. Molin's got her feet on the ground. What she really meant was, Molin does what's expected, you don't. But there was one person who never made me feel small, Grandma Evelyn. She was the kind of woman who could quiet a room just by smiling. Her laugh was soft, her hair tied loosely in a bun, and she brewed lavender tea at sunset. Every summer, she'd sit me on the balcony of her apartment overlooking Tampa Bay, the ceiling fan humming lazily while the scent of salt and flowers filled the air. Don't let life make you small, Lizzie. You're meant to take up space. That apartment wasn't just property. It was a sanctuary. And when she passed, she left it to me, handwritten, signed in the same gentle cursive that once taught me to write my first letter. I thought that was her way of saying, I see you, even if no one else does. The call from my lawyer, Douglas, split my world in two. On one side, the smell of lavender. On the other, the sound of betrayal, signed in black ink. Elizabeth, there are inconsistencies in the documents. The signatures don't match. The notary seals, they don't exist. He hesitated. Silly girl, he muttered. Not at me, but at whoever thought they could fool the law. Those words stuck in my mind, not as an insult, for years, but as a challenge. They'd called me too sensitive, too naive, too distant. Maybe it was time to prove that calm doesn't mean blind. I minimized the call and opened his email. There it was, the proof. The signature looked like my grandmother's, but it wasn't. The loops were tighter, the pen pressure heavier. Molin always pressed too hard when she wrote. She liked to leave marks. Outside, the rain thickened, beating against the window like a verdict. Grandma, I whispered. I'm sorry. I should have protected what you gave me, but the guilt soon hardened into resolve. I wasn't going to scream. I was going to prove. Going back, even in memory, to Florida felt like pressing against an old bruise. My mother's immaculate house, her careful words, the light in her eyes every time she spoke about Molin. Your sister always does everything right. You could learn from her. In that family, love had a hierarchy, and I was at the bottom of the list. I grew up believing silence was survival, but silence rots when it swallows too much injustice. When Evelyn died, Molin organized everything, the flowers, the service, the paperwork. I thought it was kindness. It was control. She was rearranging the world exactly as she liked it, without me in it. In our family, love came with an instruction manual, I thought, and I never learned how to read it. The next few days, I became an archaeologist of truth. Old emails, scanned letters, photographs. Every loop of my grandmother's handwriting became a clue. The Y in Evelyn. I remembered how it always dipped gracefully like a wing. In the forged document, the Y ended hard, abrupt. Molan had never known how to be delicate. I sent everything to Douglas. "Is this enough?" I asked. "More than enough," he said. "But don't confront her yet. Let the rope tighten." Outside, London kept raining. The city looked like me, cold, composed, ready to break. "My sister thinks I'm weak," I wrote in my journal, "but she forgets. I learned patience from Grandma, and those who wait win." The next morning, my phone buzzed with a name I hadn't seen in months. "Molan," I answered. "Liz." Her voice was bright, too bright. "You won't believe it. I finally sold Grandma's apartment." I froze. "You sold it?" "Yep, cash offer, $320. Closed the deal myself. I knew you'd get overwhelmed with all the legal stuff, so I took care of it. For us. For us." The words dripped like poison. "Oh, and I'm sending you 10,000, a little help for rent in London." 10,000 from my own inheritance. "Molan," I said quietly, "you know that condo was mine." "Oh, come on. Grandma wanted it for both of us." I just did what needed to be done. I hit record before she could finish. Every fake laugh, every rehearsed line, saved. When the call ended, the file sat on my screen. Evidence 1, MP3. In that moment, I realized her arrogance was my weapon. While she was talking, I was building. That night, my mother called. "Sweetheart, I just spoke to your sister. I'm so relieved she sold that apartment. One less thing to worry about." A relief. She said it like erasing a legacy was an act of grace. "Mom," I breathed, "that apartment was mine. She forged Grandma's signature." "Oh, Elizabeth, always so dramatic. Why create trouble? Your sister's only trying to help." "You never listen," I thought, but I didn't say it. I just let the silence do the talking. When the call ended, I sat in the dark. For the first time, I understood that the worst kind of loneliness isn't being alone. It's being the only one who sees the truth in a room full of people pretending not to. 2 days later, my phone rang again. Ethan, Molan's husband. "Elizabeth, I probably shouldn't be calling, but you deserve to know." "Know what?" "She forged everything. Said you gave up your claim. I didn't question it. But she's falling apart. She bought a new house with the money." Time stopped. "Ethan, do you have proof?" "I do, and I'll testify." Outside, for the first time in months, the rain had stopped. 3 days later, Douglas called. "The case is filed. Her accounts are frozen." My phone lit up non-stop. 10 missed calls, then 20. Finally, I answered. "What did you do, Liz?" Molan's voice cracked. "Me? Nothing. Just told the truth." She cried, cursed, begged, shouted, but her voice no longer cut. It was just noise fighting extinction. When Douglas told me about her offer, I smiled faintly. "She's offering 150, wants to end it quietly." "No," I said, "it's not about money. It's about justice." "Then what are your terms?" 4. 1. A notarized written apology. 2. Full repayment to the buyers. 3. A letter to our parents admitting what she did. And 4. A legal promise never to contest another inheritance again. Douglas chuckled softly. Poetic. Brutal. "I'll draft it." Hours later, the email arrived. Subject: Statement of Confession. Signature: Molan Pierce. I, Molan Pierce, acknowledge that I falsified the estate documents of Evelyn Monroe. I read it 3 times, then forwarded it to Douglas with 2 words: "Justice served." But victory doesn't always taste sweet. Sometimes it tastes like rain, heavy, inevitable. 2 weeks later, cleansing. The property was back in my name. I sold it, and with the money I opened my own studio, Evelyn Creative. 1 room, 1 desk, 1 dream. On the desk, Grandma's silver watch, the same one she wore during those summer afternoons in Tampa. A few days later, a package arrived. My mother's handwriting on the box. Inside, a short note and the polished watch. She'd want you to have this. On the back, faint engraving. The world
I sat there,
is waiting.
eyes closed, letting the ticking fill the room. Each second whispered, "You did it." Molen moved away, sold her new house at a loss, and faded quietly out of family conversations. I didn't hate her. I just let time do what it always does, wash away what no longer belongs. Because justice isn't revenge. It's finally breathing without weight. If you've ever had to fight for something that was rightfully yours, if you've ever been called dramatic, ungrateful, or too much of a dreamer, this story is for you. Tell me in the comments, have you ever had to prove you weren't the silly girl of your family? And if you want to see what happens when silence becomes your greatest strength, watch the next video. They called me ungrateful until the truth came out.